Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to One to One with me, Mohammed Shafiq, exclusively here on Iqra TV International, wherever you are watching this around the world. A very warm welcome. In these series of programs, we've been looking at prominent Muslims who are making a contribution not just to the fellow Muslims and the community here in the UK, but also to wider society. We're coming to you from Manchester, United Kingdom. And my special guest today is Jamaal Richards. He's a TV presenter and chairman of Dean Riders, which is a Muslim motorcycle organisation. This is going to be entertaining. He works in the community. He also includes his marriage counselling, consultation, and has recently been delivering marriage workshops. Jamaal, assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the programme. Great to have you.
Thank you. Great to be here as well.
Now, Dean Riders. Tell us about it.
Dean Riders, it's a Muslim motorcycle organisation, and I would like to think of it as being the first, because we've had many different things. You have motorcycle clubs, you've got motorcycle, riding clubs and so on. But an actual organisation, I think, is the first ever.
What was the reason behind wanting to set it up? Is this some sort of hidden passion that you've always had?
Well, the passion has always been there. But what happened is, what we found is that we used to find many people going out to ride for leisure rides in the weekend, burning fuel, probably disturbing the neighbours on the early Sunday morning. So myself and two friends, we thought about, why don't we do something useful with this? It is a joint passion. There are bikers everywhere. The community love bikes. So we had the idea, and Dean Riders was born in 2007, I believe.
Now, most people watching this, and people around the world, have a stereotype about bikers. The thugs, the hard life, the fast-paced life, as you were saying. Is any of that true when it comes to Dean Riders?
Absolutely not. In actual fact,
sure?
I'm absolutely positive about that. The very first time we were ever interviewed, when the actual interview was published, we were labelled as being a Muslim biker gang? And it's a terrible, terrible label to have, because there's no association whatsoever with biker gangs or anything like that. So yeah, it's nothing. If you ever see us in the work that we do, you just see a group of friendly brothers, and also we have many non-Muslims as well that ride with us, and it's a beautiful gathering. It's a fantastic community, actually.
So what does the actual organisation do? What's your objectives? What are you trying to aim?
Our main focus is, our main objective is to work with charities to help raise awareness and essential funds for humanitarian and obviously community needs as well. So that's what we do best. It was our brief from the very beginning, and it works very well.
And how many riders have you got?
Well, that's a good question. In terms of actual regular activity, we have around 30. But when it comes to some of the campaigns that we do, for example, we did a Gaza protest ride a few years ago. We had more than 110 bikes join in with that. So it really does vary on project to project. And
you live in London?
Yeah.
Is it a London-based thing, or is this cross-country?
It's cross-country, but the actual main activity takes place in London. But we do have brothers who are from various parts of the UK, Bradford, Manchester, and also Pakistan as well. We had some involvement from some groups in Pakistan, Canada, but it's a lot of hard work, so our main focus is here.
And how do you attract people?
Well, our main avenue really at the moment is Facebook and social media. So the work that we do, we highlight it, we promote it, and we just get a lot of people that... this is part of the work that we do. Rather than maybe like you've seen sometimes the mundane, I'd like to call it mundane, methods of fundraising. Maybe they just sort of do the same thing, 3 peaks, mountain climbing, this kind of thing. It's like, there's nothing really new about it. So what we do is we try to think outside the box. We come up with novel ideas. And when we do it, people, they just plug into it straight away. And that's how it works.
And you say, think about the outside the box. What do you mean by that? What sort of things?
Well, I love challenges. So one of the challenges that we had is we were raising money for homeless revert or convert Muslims. So we decided to do it was an outdoor thing, but it was pretty much a 24-hour ride. We set off about 9 o'clock in the evening, and we rode through the night. On the way back, it was really, really challenging. You know, people were saying I'm falling asleep on the motorway. It was quite dangerous, but the challenge element of it is something that we've always enjoyed. And we also do walks as well, sponsored walks, 25 miles cross country, during Ramadan usually. You know, starvation, thirst. But it really makes you appreciate...
Particularly in the middle of summer as well.
In the middle of summer, it makes you appreciate... You imagine a whole day of walking in the heat, and at the end, at Maghrib time, when you first taste water or you taste a date, it's incredible, really incredible.
And what other activities are you planning?
Okay, so this year we're going to be quite busy. We're going to work with a few charities, and we always try to work with what we like to call mainstream or non-Muslim charities. So in the past, we've worked with a children's hospital. This year, we're going to work with a charity which really looks after children with disabilities. We worked with them 2 years ago, and we're going to do it again this year. And that's going to be quite a really good endeavour as well.
And when you say fundraising, if you don't mind me asking, what's the figure you raise?
Okay, well, that varies as
well.
It
varies from organisation to campaign to campaign, but on average?
Okay, so on average, we always try to set a target, which is, I guess it's quite small, but we always try to set a target of about £10,000. Sometimes we struggle, but we will hit that target. I think more internal causes, like for example, local charities in the UK, we struggle with those ones. But especially if it's a humanitarian cause, then we always do really well. And then we go for bigger targets, maybe it could be 20, 30, 40,000 pounds, depending. So we've done really well, you know, especially the Syria campaign, we've done quite well with that.
Now you've got young people who feel detached from society, they possibly feel detached from the mosques and the community establishments. Have you done any work to bring those people, give them a meaning, giving them a purpose, direction? Absolutely.
I mean, we do work with a charity where the children, their fathers have been incarcerated, and they've also become alienated from the community. So we work with them, we organise day trips for them, and this year we're going to be taking part in a mentoring programme for them as well. So it's really good because they look up to us as role models, and so it's quite important that we try to set a good example and also to encourage them to do the best things as well.
And when you look at those youngsters and you see the issues that they're facing, where do you think we as a community, as a Muslim community in the UK, are going wrong?
That's a really good question. I mean, maybe the community were a little bit old-fashioned in our ways. We have an expectation of our children, but we don't actually get inside their heads. You know, externally, we know the sort of thing that kids want to do, and we say, well, you can't do it, you know, whatever. But we need to have more of an understanding of what appeals to them. So this is the reason why we see in the children kind of like looking elsewhere for entertainment and looking elsewhere for excitement, and you know, so this is where we're going wrong. And acceptance as well, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Because we've got I wouldn't say a huge problem, but a very significant problem of young Muslims being brainwashed by the likes of Daesh and ISIS and others. Yeah. Do you think that you can use Deen Riders as a way to get people away from that ideology?
Yeah, totally, totally. I mean, what it is, there's a kind of an understanding that the youth have, where when they feel sometimes to become closer to their deen, their religion, they have to do certain things which is contrary to our understanding, especially from our original, you know, teachings of Islam. So our original teachings are that our beloved Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, you know, the people around him used to come to him. They would come to the Muslims for help. They would come to the Muslims for aid, for anything like this. And the Muslims always saw it as a duty to help. So this is something which we now try to instill in children. The work that we do, they see that it's involving the community. We have an obligation, we have a duty to help our neighbours. And the pleasure that we see on the faces of our neighbours and the pleasure that we get from doing it, it's very rewarding. And when the children see this, they want to be a part of that.
That community activism isn't for everybody. And for some people, it's a calling. What was it for you?
I just think it was something which may have been maybe more natural to myself. When I first came into the deen, the religion, I just felt at home with, you know, for example, you're in a gathering, you're seeing there are people organizing things and, you know, and I just thought, rather than being someone to receive this, I need to be someone who's actually, you know, involved in, you know, dishing it out. And the children has always been like a really big focus. So organizing day trips for kids and stuff like that, it was from the very beginning. I think that's what started me off. Yeah, just organizing things for the kids, and then obviously it just stemmed from there.
And marriage counselling.
Okay, well.
Now I'm hoping you're going to say to me that your marriage is absolutely perfect.
Well,
and
you know,
you're an expert, and therefore that's why you do this.
I have no complaints. I have no complaints whatsoever. But I think what it is the fact that because I used to run a marriage service, so it all comes like, you know, as part of it as well. So you run a marriage service, and then you have someone say, "No, brother, you know, I wonder if you could help me." You know, people are falling out. You know, my husband and wife are falling out. So I ended up doing a lot of work when it came to that.
Was that initially just through your friends, your network?
Yeah,
or was that
just within my community, people they know you, they know the sort of things that you do. You find yourself getting called to a few arbitrations, as it's called, and then after that, it just sort of went on from there. Really, it's never a pleasure. You know, if someone calls me to their house and they say, "Oh, brother, I want to divorce my wife" or something like this, and I say, "You don't need me then. If that's what you want, if you want to save your marriage, then I'll come and help you. But if you're so adamant, then there's no point in me being here." But most of the time, it's always like some kind of issue. Anyone who's married, they know what it's like. One day you can handle anything. One day, you know, something small, and it's like, oh, it's over. So we can be a bit hasty sometimes.
What sort of examples have you come across?
All of them. Every example, you name it, it's been there. But I think the one... no, actually, that's not true, not all of them, because the one thing I haven't come across yet where I've been able to sit with both husband and wife, but it is something which is very prevalent in our community, is domestic violence. And I'm campaigning quite a lot against that at the moment. So no, I haven't dealt with that as yet, but unfortunately I've dealt with situations where I've had wives contact me and say, "My husband is abusing me, but you can't say anything, just advise me." That's very frustrating. But hopefully, you know, we get an opportunity where we can actually get them to come out and in the open, so I can deal with it. And
do you get a sense as Muslims, we don't really, we have this private sphere and we have a public sphere, don't we? Yeah. And we don't really want to talk or broadcast or what goes on in our private lives. Do you think that's a common reason why people don't reach out and seek help?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, this is why it's quite sad, because it does happen. But by having certain organisations in place, at least it makes it possible for someone to be able to contact someone and just say, "Look, you know, help me." But when it comes to public sphere, yeah, you're right. Obviously, it's a bit of a taboo. But I speak about it, you know, and I speak about it quite openly.
Okay, so let's try this out.
Okay.
I'm the husband. I ring you up and say, "There's a problem with my wife. What do I do?" What's the process that people go through?
Well, if it comes to basically part of our deen, right, is advising, right, and so if someone comes to me and they say they've got a problem with their wife, for example, then after them speaking for a little while, then you start to identify where the issues are. A lot of the time, it's like, okay, look, the patience is a main factor, but not the patience where someone is being abused and you say, "Oh, Sabah, be patient," right? No, the sort of patience where someone is like, "You know what, I haven't got time for this," whatever. Then you can advise them and say, "Look, just be patient, take a step back, have a think about it, and you'll see that it's actually not as bad as you think it is." That sort of advice, it really, really does help. But sometimes it's one of those things where it's always recurring. They come back again and again and again, and you know, sometimes you sort of think proverbially, like, you know, you need to have a slap. If it's a brother, for example, it's a husband,
and
you need a slap. You're being
mate.
impatient. You know, what's the matter with you? You know, things like this. But with the wives, usually they're quite patient, and I'm not saying that it's more one-sided. It happens on both sides, but I think in terms of receiving advice, it only comes with that sincerity of really wanting to make a difference and to make a change in the household.
And Do you think in the 21st century, divorce is on the increase amongst Muslims?
Yeah, 100% it is. It's become very, very easy. You know, sadly, because of the way that the Islamic marriage is an easy process, then, you know, people, you know, the amount of times that through anger, a husband has divorced his wife, and then he's realized later on that, oh, I made a mistake. And so they go what we call fatwa shopping. They try to find, you know, a sheikh or an imam somewhere that will say, you know what, brother, okay, it was in anger, it's okay, it didn't count. And then he goes away and does it again. And just the thought of someone not being able to remarry because of a stupid mistake or from being impatient, this is what is very heartbreaking because...
I really want to explore this in further detail, but it's time for our first break. When we come back, we'll talk further marriage counselling, deen riding, and what makes Jamaal tick. Join us on the other side of this. Assalamu alaikum, welcome back to 121 with me, Mohammed Shafiq. My guest today is Jamaal Richards, who's the founder of Deen Riders. And I just think it's really fascinating, but I just want to finish off our discussion. We were talking about marriage counselling. Do you think our menfolk need to be educated about what the process of divorce is? Because some of them have this mindset that all they can do is say, divorce, divorce, divorce 3 times, and then that's it, it's done and dusted. Whereas in reality, there's a process, a structured process, which the Quran and the Prophet ﷺ...
Such a beautiful question, bro. I mean, basically, people tend to forget that even Allah says it in the Quran about when, you know, in terms of someone wanted to break down with their marriage, that they should seek arbitration from someone from both sides. But we're not seeing that. We're seeing people in anger just saying, you know, divorce, 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 and that's it. And then afterwards they go, as we call it, fatwa shopping, as I mentioned before, where they try and find a sheikh or an imam that will say, okay, brother, well, you were angry at the time, so it's okay, it doesn't count. So we see this a lot. And also, I know there is a hadith at a time of, I think it was at the time of the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, where the people, they wanted to marry these women who were fairer skinned, and because they wanted to marry them, they were told to have to divorce their wives. So they ran off and said talaq, talaq, talaq straight away, just to get rid of their wives to marry these new women. And then obviously they were admonished for this. So it's a good example to say that you shouldn't do these things in haste. It's very, very important. And personally, myself, I know it's not part of the Sunnah, but I would always advise a couple, even before you think about divorcing each other, and if you can't get arbitration, I'd rather say to them, take some time apart. Because by taking time apart, this is exactly the same as what the Iddah period is, actually. But sorry, in saying that, the Iddah period, you're not supposed to be apart, you're meant to be together anyway. But if you feel that you're going to be divorced, rather take time apart where you can think about it more. Because if you come back after a short period of being away and then you still feel the same, then it's probably more likely at that time then, okay, maybe that's what it's meant to be. But you'll always find that having that time to think about it, you'll come back and just say, you know what, I can't be away from you, you know, and that's such a beautiful thing. But this haste is just no good. It's not part of our deen to be hasty anyway. It's part, you know, obviously we're told hastiness is from the shaitan.
And do you think if people in relationships took divorce off the table and said, whatever happens, we'll get through it, we'll resolve it, but we won't go for the D word, that most of the experiences that you have won't exist?
It would be very beneficial, apart from in the cases when one or the other is being oppressive, because then that becomes like really serious imprisonment, which I don't agree with. So it has to be sort of done case by case, and then you can determine whether it's something where, look, we just don't get on anymore, we don't love each other anymore, and you know, so on. Then that's completely different. But you know, obviously, we mentioned in the previously about things like domestic violence and stuff like that, and you know, this is completely different. You know, and obviously, I wish we had more power to just be able to say, look, it's been proven that you're abusing your wife. That's it. You're out. You know, simple as.
How do you control yourself?
From what?
In those situations where you have couples coming to you, or individuals coming to you and saying that they're suffering from domestic violence.
And as I said, that's the one thing I haven't been able to...
you haven't been able to do that?
No, but my hands have been tied so many times.
Yeah, but I know in terms of your hands being tied, but how do you deal with that emotionally?
It's really tough. It is really, really, really tough. However, you do find occasions where a husband realizes that he has this weakness. I mean, I've done some videos in the past about the different categories of wife abusers, right? And there are those who they have this psychological issue where they've experienced it, they've witnessed it, and they've grown up in that environment. Someone like that, you have to have empathy for, right? But someone who, because they're being bullied at work, you know, their boss is giving them a hard time, their colleagues are bullying them, and then they go home and they take it out on their wives. This is a completely different person. So, you know, we have to kind of like evaluate it each, you know, case by case. And then that's where, you know, if someone comes to me and said, look, this is my situation, then I would have no problem in actually helping them and advising them. But yeah, what can I say? The other person, people that I know who consult me as well, they say, bro, I just want to just punch him. That's how you feel sometimes, you know. Not that I would, you know, if you're watching, brothers, you need help, then come to me still. But obviously, it's case by case.
You do Dean Riders, which is phenomenal success in terms of riding. There's marriage counselling. You do a spot of TV presenting, which we're going to talk about shortly. Where do you get all the time from?
Wow.
You sound like my life. I thought my life was busy, but...
It is quite hectic, my life, and I think what it is once you work it into your life, then even your family are used to it. So they actually become a part of what you're doing. You know, I write, and my son, actually, my 13-year-old son, last night he came to me. Actually, he was sitting down, and I'd been out all day. I was doing my show, and I came home, and he was sitting down, he was doing some writing. So I was thinking, oh, what are you writing, son? He goes, oh, nothing much. And I said, let me have a look. And he shocked me. He's one of those children that normally spend a lot of time in their tablets, right, looking at YouTube and stuff like this. And he wrote this piece. It was like so profound. I can't even remember exactly what it was, but it was amazing. I just looked at him, I thought, wow. So they're in that environment where they realize that this is something that we have to be doing. We don't have a choice. And I say this to everyone, you don't have a choice. You know, it's something that you have to do. Especially as a Muslim, right, this is something, it's an obligation on you to be in your community doing the work or supporting the work. As simple as.
And reaching out to young people. Because, you know, some young boys would love fast speeds, motorcycles, and some of them are lacking father figures, either through the fact their father has passed away, or they're separated, or they don't know who their father is. Do you come across cases like that as well? Yeah,
we do. When we come across that, we do our best to keep the boys around us, the young ones, and you know they take part in some of the things that we do as well. But we need to do more. We're not doing enough, you know, because which is why I said earlier that we do have a mentoring program that we're going to be doing this year. But it's a case of being able to be there for them at the time when they need us, you know. So hopefully we'll be able to do that more successfully this year.
Accomplished TV presenter as well. A man of many talents.
Yeah, I mean, alhamdulillah.
How does it feel to be on the other side?
I don't mind.
You don't mind?
I don't mind, yeah. Obviously, if you're talking about the work that needs to be done, I don't mind doing it. So, yeah.
We've got some difficult questions in the last segment.
That's good. I don't mind. Yeah, no problem.
And how do you find presenting? Because I get a sense is, you know, if you go to a conference or you go to an event or a meeting, you're talking to 100 people or 1,000 people. Yet through the media, you're talking to millions around the world, and you've got such a captive audience. Surreal responsibility?
Yeah, it's a responsibility. I mean, the show that I'm doing at the moment is more of an entertainment-based show.
Okay.
I enjoy it very much, but the work that I really like doing is the one where you know, myself and the community, we work together and we try to deal with some of the issues that we have in the community. That is really what I love to focus on more. But like I said, this show at the moment is a lot of fun. The team are really great. I get to do a little bit of acting as well.
Oh, gee.
I do, yeah. So it's all right. I just got to stop myself from smiling when I'm acting. I'm meant to be like keeping a straight face. It's really difficult, but I love it. It's really great, and it's part of the entertainment as well. You know, maybe it's something a bit light-hearted and you know, a bit of a change.
And what's the reaction been from people within the community
regarding the current show? Or
the shows, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's really good.
Feedback.
We get, yeah, good feedback. I mean, this show is very new. We're into the 11th week now. And it's quite good because we're getting viewers from around the world sort of like, you know, commenting, saying they're enjoying it. So it's not too bad, yeah.
Are you active on social media? Do you understand the power of the social media?
I do, yeah, I do, definitely. And I'm trying to do more. Just started my Instagram account, trying to populate that. And but Dean Ryder's Instagram, very successful. I was managing that for some time, and it's only the last maybe 2 months that I thought, you know what, I need one for myself. So I've done that as well.
So you've got one for Dean Riders, and these are what, images of the bikes?
Yeah, not
events.
just the bikes. The work that we do, the community that we work with, and yeah, mainly that. And it's really good. We've had some fantastic responses on Instagram actually, and on Facebook as well.
And do you understand that many people now, you know, we live in the 21st century, particularly in this year 2017, where it's the social media age, and how important it is, how successful you can be with your messaging.
Definitely. One thing that we've started doing as Dean Riders is, especially as you mentioned, the social media has been a massive help. So if we're doing a fundraising campaign, we like to engage the public live. So we let them know that we're going to be doing a live sort of like ride, and we're going to end up, I mean, one of the most amazing achievements that I can say that we've had is on the last campaign that we did, which was for, I think it was for Syria, Aleppo, that's right. We engaged the world on this one. We did a World Bikers for Aleppo campaign, and we were going to ride around Marble Arch in London, an iconic location, right? We did it before. We're doing it again. So we parked up just to have a little break on the outskirts of the actual iconic arch. A policeman came over to us. What are you guys doing? So we explained to him, officer, we're here, we're doing a fundraising campaign. He says to us, bring your bikes into Marble Arch. And this is the first, it's unprecedented. I was like a little kid.
It's actually closed off, isn't it?
It's closed off. I was like a little kid. We had about 20 or more bikes lined up in there. The public came over. We did live broadcasts. The public were engaged in this. We had donations on the day. It was just an amazing thing. And obviously, when we were leaving as well, we had to do the trademark sort of revving up of the engines and things like this. And it was fantastic.
Do you get a sense that Dean Riders is a family? We talked about supporting young people, but there's a sense of brotherhood, familyhood between you and your fellow riders.
Yeah, definitely. It is a sort of it is a family, like a little small community. Remember, you have maybe 30 or more people who have different vocations, right, doing different things, different experiences, and they bring that together. So we've had doctors, we have several teachers at the moment, obviously the usual mechanics and you name it. So it's just nice to know that it's all within that. So we have a little forum. Well, someone needs advice on this, they need help with that. And I watch most of the activity, and I'm seeing that a brother who's living probably at the other side of London, he's going out of his way to go to help someone on the other side, and I think that's amazing. It's really, really fantastic. And
there's a sense, a biker community is quite unique, quite a closed community. Do you get a sense that you are using this as a form of dawah to the non-Muslim bike community, to the wider society?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. There's a location that we meet up on a Friday night, and it's motorway services. And this is something where we never fail to have someone come to us and just say, who are you guys? They've seen a lot of bearded bikers, right?
Yeah.
Hey, who are you guys? We start to explain to them who we are. And if we're doing a fundraising campaign as well, and we're just there for a break, you'd be amazed at how many people, non-Muslims as well, oh, you're raising money for Syria. I don't know who you are, mate, but what you're doing sounds really good. Here's some money. And this is incredible, and this is something which is very encouraging for us as well.
The British people are really giving people, aren't they?
Absolutely, 100%, 100%. And this is why we feel we have an obligation, a duty to give back. We are always giving back anyway, because they know how hospitable the Muslim community are. If you ask John from number 56 of your road, right, if there's anyone that he's going to come to ask for help, he's going to come to you because he knows that you're going to do it sincerely without any expectation of something in return. But we just need to do a lot more. We need to give a lot back, which we do tend to do that, I suppose, when we give dawah. But we have to kind of remember that although dawah is an obligation, it's also a gift as well. And it's the biggest gift probably.
Motorcycles are dangerous.
Yeah.
Is there a safer way to be a member of your community?
Yeah, and it's all being done. It's all being done, but there's just that little more money we can squeeze out of the community in another way, and this is how we do it. And we'd rather, dare I say, lose our life doing something which will be pleasing to Allah, rather than lose our lives just riding for the fun of it. And, you know, we see people dying every day on motorbikes. And when they get questioned as to what they were doing at the time they died, most of the time it would just be, well, I was just having fun. I was burning petrol and I was having a lot of fun. We stopped and we were just talking about idle, you know, things, nothing in particular. Now we're dead and nothing to show for it. So with us, we don't ride crazy. As a policy, we don't ride crazy. We used to, but we don't anymore. And we've lost people as well, you know, so it's one of those things that it happens. But we encourage that if it's going to happen to you, then let it be at a time that you're doing something of worth.
So it's happened to your group?
Yeah, actually, the last death that we had, which was only about a year ago, he used to be a member of Dean Riders, but he left. He was a school teacher, an amazing young brother, fantastic. He was actually out riding, and we heard that he lost his life, which was quite sad. But the first person that we lost, which was quite a few years ago, actually, he was quite amazing as well. But again, it wasn't during a group ride. It was in Ramadan. It was in the morning. He was going to visit a friend to return a gift. It was a trust, something that he'd loaned. He was returning it, and he died on the way, unfortunately, in a motorcycle accident. So we lose people. It does happen. But this is why we encourage everyone to ride safely. We have courses that we recommend people to go on. And when we ride together, we ride with discipline. So if it happens, we say it's meant to happen.
How active are you within building links between mosques and community organisations at a grassroots level? Well,
we tend to support a lot of activities that take place in the mosques. When we do some of our fundraisers, we involve some of the mosques as well. So we may do, like, for example, we did what we called the 5 cities ride. So from London, we went to Birmingham, we went to Bradford, we went to, I can't remember where, and it was all meant to be done in one day. So it was another challenge. And it's really good because when we get there, we get to also do fundraising and engage with the community there as well.
Did you do it?
Yeah, we made it. Just about.
Just about made it. Okay, we'll take our second break. When we come back, we'll talk more to Jamaal about his life, his personality, his story, introduction to Islam. Join us on the other side of this. Assalamu alaikum, welcome back to 121 with me, Mohammed Shafiq. My special guest is Jamaal Richards. Now, we've talked in some detail about all the aspects of your community life that you're involved in. Briefly talked about your family. Tell me more about your family.
Well, my immediate family.
Yeah.
You're
married?
Married,
yeah.
Have children.
How many children?
Got 5 kids.
MashaAllah.
Unless I made a mistake. I always get in trouble with that one.
Yeah.
I'm a granddad as well.
MashaAllah.
That's why I have my trademark.
I didn't think you were that old to be a granddad.
People always say that, but we have to sort of disguise ourselves as much as possible. But no, I'm a proud granddad as well. But yeah, lovely family. Very understanding family, very patient family. Because
the sound of your family is very much similar to mine. I'm very busy, and it's that work-life balance. And I'm always feeling guilty. There's always times when I feel I should be able to do more, should do more. Have you been through that similar journey?
Yeah, all the time.
How do you balance it out?
It's very difficult, but it's just about trying to find dedicated time for the family. So usually during the holidays, it's like, right, you know, Dean Riders, we get a lot of, I suppose, activities during the holidays. But it's a case of saying, look, I'm putting this time aside for the family and we're going to go out, we're going to do something really nice. But the only thing we haven't had a chance to do yet is to go away together. And I think that would kind of let me off the hook a little bit if I can do that. But it's just a case of just really finding that dedicated time for them so they know, look, I am here. And obviously also trying to involve them in some of the things that we do. So yeah, a fundraiser, if there's an event, then they have to come. And they come and they love it.
They enjoy it?
They enjoy it, yeah.
How important is faith and your family to the work that you do?
Yeah, it's very important. Without trying to build on the faith, the iman, it's obviously very pointless, because again, it's always trying to remind each other of the understanding of why we're doing what we're doing. And as long as you have that faith element to it, then we understand that whatever we do, we're supposed to try and do it with ihsan, which is excellence. And you can't do that without having that understanding. So again, I remind the family of the same thing. Do your best, be the best that you can in whatever you're trying to do. Don't do it half-hearted, put as much as you can into it. And that can't be done without faith. So this is, they come hand in hand. And
how much support do you give to your wife?
Support?
For her role, her career?
What she does, 100% support. She's recently become, when I say recently, but about a year or so now, she became a teacher, or a teacher's assistant for children with learning difficulties. Yeah. And she did a lot of studying for that. And I used to, you get this thing where, for example, you come home, hard day's work, and you want to just lay in bed and have a rest, and then your wife is there, and the bed is filled with paperwork and stuff from what she's learning. It's like, you get so used to it. But just watching her, it also was encouragement. It was fantastic watching her achieve like this, not because of me helping her. Anything, she did it on her own. And she got to the end, now she's working, and they love her. She's a fantastic teacher assistant.
Alhamdulillah. You came into Islam.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about your journey into Islam.
Well, I always say that there's a long version, there's a short version. I could try to mix the two as much as possible. But my journey was, I think it was a fantastic journey, right? Black guy in the community. I respected my neighbors, they respected me. A friend of mine, he came to my house one day. He had a book, and this book was on black activism. And he was meant to be reading this book, right? Because he was in the hip-hop culture, and he thought it was like a cool thing to do. He must have turned the pages a couple of times, and then he put the book down in my house, and he left it there. So I was intrigued by it. I picked it up and read a few pages, and that's what took me on the journey. So from that journey from black history, and then from black history to black activism, and from black activism to Malcolm X. Who's this guy, this radical guy, right? Oh, he hates this, he hates whites, he hates whatever. This is what we're reading in the early stages of his life, right? Am I like this? Well, I'm not really like this, but he sounds like a very interesting person. Read on. Oh, wow, okay, this is guy, now he's found the true Islam, the real Islam, and he's realized that it's about Muslims of all colors and everything coming together and working together. And then that's what took me on my journey. And then eventually I became Muslim when a few friends, this is how I've merged the story, a few friends of mine had become Muslim, and they came to me and said, like, what do you think of Islam? So I thought, okay, I'm going to spend 2 years researching Islam. And during that 2-year period, I started to go to the mosque and pray, and my prayer was stupid because people would look at me and thinking, what the heck is this guy doing? Because I don't know how to pray, I'm just doing my thing, right?
Yeah.
People are watching me, but it feels natural to me. I wanted this, I'm going to be a part of this. And then after the 2 years, because I was with my, she was my partner at the time, not my wife, and someone said to me, Jamaal, are you going to, obviously my name wasn't Jamaal back then, but you're not going to learn my new name, my real name. I'm not going to tell you my real name. Anyway, they said, Jamaal, are you going to take the step and, become Muslim? And I thought, look, it's going to be difficult because I'm living with someone, and, obviously I know I'm not supposed to be with that person unless I'm married. And then they just said to me, look, don't worry about that now. Just take the step, become Muslim, and everything will fall in hand after that. So I did it. I took my Shahada, became Muslim. It was a fantastic thing. The sensation was wonderful. And my partner became Muslim, got married, and so on and so forth. So it was an amazing journey, actually. It's a fantastic journey.
And you look at that journey, and you look at, how much support did you get from the community? Because I get this as a British Pakistani. When somebody comes into Islam, we're very welcoming at the mosque, at the ceremony. And then a bit after that, person's a bit left out.
Yeah.
Still come to the mosque, still do their events and stuff and ibadat, but really we don't have, and I speak collectively as a community, do you think we need to do more to help reverts?
Absolutely, 100% we need to do more. And in actual fact, to answer that question, I because I do video production, right? And I actually, one of my main clients where I work, and it's very close to me, this organization, if I can say the name, is called IERA, the Islamic Education and Research Academy. Very well known. It's run by a beautiful person called Abdul Rahim Green. He's very well known. And this organization, not only do they empower people to be able to invite people to Islam, but also they help new Muslims, and they have a massive focus on that. So they have retreats where they can have a group of Muslims together, and they teach them about Islam in a way that it really helps them to connect with Allah.
He does marriage instruction as well, doesn't he?
Marriage, yes, he does. Yes, he does. And actual, my marriage workshops were delivered at this retreat. So that's when I first started doing that. So he does all of this, and he, like I said, he's an incredible person. People who know him as a speaker, they know how powerful he is as a speaker, but people who know him as a man, this is when they get to know and love someone immediately. Very humble, very real, very genuine. Himself, Yusuf Chambers, they started the organization together, and the whole team are an amazing team. I love every single one of them because they are all sincere, all genuine, and they see the need that, as you mentioned, there's something deficient in the community. Someone embraces Islam, everyone gets excited, they're really wonderful, oh, we've got a new Muslim. After that, it's like they leave them, okay, oh, you've got to fast in Ramadan, and oh, you've got to pray now, and that's it, and they leave them to it, you know, so...
And by the way, we're not going to give our daughter in marriage to you.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely, that happens as well, which is a shame. It does happen, but what can I say? Things are changing, and that's thanks to organizations like IERA.
So tell me, do you have any hobbies? Do you have any time for hobbies? Should be the question.
I do have time for hobbies. My main thing is writing. I do my best to write poetry, short stories. What else? I don't know. Walking, countryside.
Yeah.
I have a passion for the countryside.
Which is kind of strange because you're a city boy,
yeah,
born in the city of London, and yet you've got a passion for the countryside.
Yeah, I've got an amazing passion. I think when I was a kid in primary school, we went out to a school trip to the farm in the countryside, and I think that's what did it for me. Probably about 5 or 6 years old. I was like, wow, you know, and I've always loved it since then. But then my parents, who are from the Caribbean, they live in rural areas, so maybe it's like...
In the genes.
Yeah, maybe it's in the genes as well.
Okay, so this question has really put everybody on the spotlight. So I'm hoping, but you being a TV presenter and accomplished public speaker, this might not be a problem. Describe yourself in 3 words.
Describe myself in 3 words.
And it just has to be 3 words. You can't have double-barrel words as well.
Obligated to serve.
Okay.
Gotcha.
You have, yeah. Obligated to serve. I like the way you brought it together. So as most people would go for 3 different words, descriptive words, and you brought 3 words together.
Yeah, cheated a little bit, huh?
You have certainly, but I think we'll allow that today.
Thank you.
And looking back at your life, what have been some of the highlights?
Oh, now you got me. Now you got me. I probably couldn't tell you because I think I've been so absorbed in activities that, yeah, I wouldn't say I've done it all. I haven't done it all, but I've done so much. It's very difficult to say, but, you know, did a 5-week filming tour in Africa. I've done, you know, traveling across country. I've done so much, and so it's very difficult to say. I really couldn't say.
And flipping it, if you had the chance to do something again, what would you do differently?
Oh, well, then that probably applies to quite a lot of things because we make errors in so many different areas. Doing a fundraiser that didn't go very well, and this is like the biggest stress that I ever have. Like, we're going to do a fundraiser, we have a target to set, and the clock starts ticking, right? And you look at the fundraising page every 20 seconds to see if any money's come in. What are we not doing? What can we do better? So yeah, I guess in that regard, it's a case of maybe in terms of how we set about to raise awareness for that particular issue or that campaign. And I guess there are many things that we could have done to improve it. So maybe not just one particular thing, but maybe many things.
What can we expect in the next chapter of Jamaal's life?
I guess it will be a case of maybe just more of the same. But my writing, I do want to get that out a little bit more now. So, you know, I've just finished what I think is a very fantastic short story. It's the genre is horror with a reminder at the end, an essential reminder that it's like a wake-up call. And on this one, I've done it's an audio version as well as written. So if I can get a chance to do more of that, then that would be really nice. But I don't know. I mean, just throw it at me, bro, and I'll just take it as it comes, I guess.
Keep doing it and keep doing it to the best of your ability.
Thanks. Yeah. That's it. That's all it is. Just a case of, you know, whatever's out there, just try and do it to the best of my ability, as you said, and hopefully get it right.
My final question. How would you like to be remembered?
How would I like to be remembered? I would say that I would just leave that to the people, and I wouldn't like to be cocky as to maybe presume that I may leave this world as something great. So maybe, okay, someone who tried.
That's really good. Jamaal Richards, thank you so much for being my guest.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's been a real pleasure.
And all the best for the future. May Allah continue to bless you.
Ameen, and you too, bro. Thank you.
Thank you so much. As ever, we would welcome your feedback. You can share it with us via social media. The details are on the screen now. But for me, Mohammed Shafiq, and the whole team of Iqra TV International, from Manchester, United Kingdom, wherever you are around the world, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.